Thank you for tuning in today to I Retire for Him. Your retirement years can be 30 years filled with meaning and purpose as long as you connect your faith and your retirement days. Welcome to I Retire for Him. I'm your host, Jim Brangenberg. Please check us out online, iretireforhim.com, iretire4him.com. You know, when I first met Russell, he was running a mobile escape room company out of Colorado. A successful businessman, Russell has transitioned the company into a new owner's hands, and Russell and his wife, Sandy, are off on an adventure called the retirement years. Russell has spent his working years as a teacher, a Dale Carnegie coach, a business owner, and more. This past summer, Russell and Sandy explored RV life on Rush Lake in Minnesota. That's one of the 18 lakes called Rush Lake in Minnesota. But this can't be all there is to retirement, can it? Today we hear a bit of Russell's story and see where God is leading him in the next stage of life. Russell, welcome to I Retire for Him.
You know what? Thanks for the introduction, Jim. You nailed all of the lakes, all of the names, and all the business stuff. Good for you. Thanks for doing your homework.
I had some help online, and your LinkedIn profile is pretty good. All right, so Russell, how long have you been retired?
Myself, really since September 1st of this year, which is 2025. We called it kind of official as we handed over the business. My wife retired in May of last year after being a speech pathologist in the schools for over 30 years. So kind of a new venture for us here for sure.
So literally, you've been retired officially for 2 months and a few days.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And this show is getting released in the middle of November of 2025. So this is fresh. And I love to catch fresh retirement stories because you've spent your whole life working. And when you were facing retirement, you knew what you were retiring from, correct? You knew what you were walking away from, right?
Yes.
Did you know what you were retiring to?
No.
There you go.
Not.
And that's what we talk about in the show all the time. This is show 154, I believe. And that's, or maybe 155, I can't remember what it is. But that's the point of this, is that so many people know what they're retiring from. They don't know what they're retiring to. And that's what's exciting, as long as you could say, okay, God, what do you have for me? So you spent this last summer exploring retirement, doing the RV life in Minnesota, the frozen tundra when it's melted. Talk to me about it. What was that like? I mean, as you're starting to explore, you had some pretty interesting summer.
Yeah, it was. We had actually purchased the RV up in Minnesota the summer prior. So we knew we were both going to retire. We're going to be done, and it was going to be pretty much a full summer there. And you know what? I would say it exceeded our expectations. It just was, when you have nothing at that point in time on the calendar. That is almost kind of scary a little bit, to say we have nothing written down. Like when we were both working, we had this scheduled and we had this meeting and those types of things, and my wife was in the schools. But to have nothing on a calendar can be a little scary.
I was going to say freaky. I mean, for me, I just can't imagine having nothing on my calendar. But when you're sitting in an RV park in a campground in Minnesota, I mean, campgrounds in Minnesota are spectacular. They're always on a lake. There's always boat motors humming in the background. Some guys 25 horsepower outboard pushing a 14-foot fishing boat out to go get some fish at 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, the smells, the loons in the background. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But you found yourself, God kind of gave you a mission, didn't he? As you were relaxing, getting to know your other campground mates, what happened?
Yeah, I just learned that there's probably about 100 different campers in this campground, and it's actually a relatively nice place. I'm proud to bring my friends out there, and it's pretty nice. But what I found is during the course of the week, people start really from Minneapolis will show up on a Thursday night or a Friday, and then they will leave late afternoon on Sunday and get their week going, and then just do it all summer long. And in talking to people, I asked them, I said, you know what, how much do you get out of your routine in the summertime? Because in the wintertime, you do the same thing. You're not coming out to the lake, not having to do all of those kind of things. And they say, you know what, we love the routine of the lake, but it does get us a little bit out of it. And I said, does it get you out of church at all? And this is just a random question for them. I said, does this take you away from something that you do during the winter? And they said, absolutely. Yeah. Most of us attend some type of a church, a Lutheran church or whatever. And I said, what if I were to do a 39-minute church service first thing Sunday morning? Would you come? I said, and by the way, I am not a pastor. I'm not a pastor. I'm just a believer and somebody that feels like God has put me in a place to get his message out to people that are out of their routine.
So I'm going to just stop you there for a second. Sorry, I know that you were sharing your story, but you said you're not a pastor, and you get this carte blanche thing. I'm not a pastor, huh? So, did you minister to people this summer?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do a little teaching?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find yourself shepherding anybody over the summer?
Absolutely.
I'm thinking you're a pastor, buddy. Doesn't mean you don't have to go to seminary to be a pastor, for crying out loud. Guess what? Paul didn't go to seminary. Peter didn't go to seminary. They didn't go to seminary. We have got to stop saying I'm not a pastor because you're not in a pulpit in some big fancy church. You were a pastor all summer long, full time in a
Yeah.
campground. Actually, you were a missionary pastor because you were in a place where there are lost and hopeless people and they needed to meet Jesus.
I would agree with that. And you know what? People ask me, "Are you ordained?" And I'm like, I don't really know what that means. Does that mean school? I don't really know what that means. But
It's important only if you're going to get married. If you're going to marry people, otherwise, that's you don't have to be ordained to be a pastor. You need to be ordained in order to marry people. That's just a rule. I don't
it
know.
was it was interesting because I did introduce myself as not a pastor, but a believer and somebody that feels like Jesus would be part of our life, maybe more than he currently is. And I'm just here to send a little message. So what happened was they have a little Facebook page, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna see if anybody will show up. I'm gonna do a little service on Sunday. I promised them 39 minutes or less, one song on the front end out of my little Bluetooth box, one on the end, and a very simple message on Sunday morning. And I said, start at 9. We'll be out at 9:39.
And where did everybody's wondering? So I got to ask, where did the 9:39 come from?
I don't know. You know what? If you tell them it's going to be an hour, they probably go, ah, that's too much. But I thought if I take the under of 40 minutes, maybe people will go, I'll give the guy 39 minutes and we'll see what happens. So it was just a number that popped up in my mind.
I like it. All right, so you were
Yeah.
trying to overcome objections before you actually heard them.
Yes. So, I gave the over under 6 people.
Okay.
I talked to a handful and I put it on the Facebook page and nobody responded. I said, you know what? If I get 6 people, that's fine by me. The first time I did it, there was 32 people that showed up, and they showed up with their Bloody Marys and in their golf carts and in their camp chairs, and they just kind of set up in this area just a grassy area right by the docks and stuff. And it was enough to make you nervous, you know.
The over and under. You should get a different bookie.
I know. So I decided I would do something that I knew a little bit about, and I did a message on spiritual gifts. What does God have for us? How has He used me as a now pastor? How has He used my spiritual gifts to kind of get me where I'm in? And I told a real quick testimonial about how I got here. And if you were to rewind the tape 20 years, there's no way I'm speaking the word of God to people in a campground. It's not possible. So I just kind of leaned in to say, God has plans for me. He's given me some gifts to be able to speak to a group, to lean into people, to minister to people, and this is what I'm doing. And so it was great. And now they're really looking forward to the next summer, and they want me to do more and more of those. And maybe it's not every Sunday, but there was some talk around the campground. It's like, that was worth my time. And I guess really that's all I needed to hear.
Did you do it just one time?
Just the one time. Yeah, first time in the summer. And it got complicated with some things that were going on with our family personally and whatever. So next year I'm going to commit a little bit more to this thing and put some time into it. And I'm really excited that they're excited about coming in.
Just a little jealousy here that you actually get to back to Minnesota to the tundra when it's melted, when it's gorgeous up there, and be able to spend a little time around the lake. It's nothing like the smell of fresh water in Minnesota.
Awesome.
Love that. All right, so that's one thing God was preparing you to do all your work life. Did you ever anticipate that?
Never. Absolutely never. Yeah, the last, just handful of years, God has just kind of taken me by the shirt and said, you know what, I have other plans for you. You have a business to run and whatever, but I want to try to set you up so when you retire, and I think that's why the invitation came, Jim, and thank you for that. What's next? What are you going to do next? What do you want to do when the business season of your life has moved on now what? Are you going to lean into God, or are you going to go sit and go to Florida and sit around doing nothing? And I decided I'm going to lean into the Word of God and find out exactly what He has for me. So I even wrote it down before we got on this call. I said, I am going to listen for direction. And that's what I have been doing.
Well, the good news is when you're in the quiet in a campground in Minnesota, you can hear a lot better, and you're surrounded by nature. It always seems like it's easier to hear God's voice when you're out in nature. Is that the case for you as well?
Yes, I spent a lot of time on the boat, just fishing and just doing whatever.
Pontoon boat, bass boat?
Pontoon.
Okay. 25 foot, 275 horsepower dualies on the back. What do you got?
Not quite that big. It's probably about a 21 footer with a 90 horse Honda on the back.
All right, well, there you go. So you can pull the grandkids on a tube, but you can't pull them skiing.
That's correct.
Got
yes.
it. Yep, got it. Nice. All right. Do you miss the daily grind, Russell?
You know what? I saw that question when we talked earlier, and honestly, my business was never really was in the grind. I don't know if a lot of people, and when you interview on that, would say it was a grind. It was a grind. It was a grind. I loved my work so much that it was never a grind for me, because at the end of the day, when I finished doing the leadership training and team building, experiential learning stuff, I could walk away going, well, I moved the needle with some people, with this company, or with the individuals that we work for, or the teams that we worked with. And it was just one of those things. I'm like, this is what I do, and I just absolutely love it. Jim mentioned that I had it was an escape room. It was a mobile escape room where we would take a 53-foot semi-trailer. We made it into a 1960s prison. It was called Bust Out Colorado, and we would bring it to companies, and people would get into the escape room, and we would analyze team dynamics, both individually and how teams work together when things got difficult. And then we go back into the conference room and have a really interesting debrief about what individuals brought to a team and how this unique experience relates to the challenges they face every day. So back to your question about, do I miss the grind? It was so rewarding. I mean, it was a lot of work getting it out there and getting it parked and set up, and to have to deal with all the power and generators and stuff. At the end of the day, it was worth it to me. So it wasn't really a grind.
I can't wait to see how God uses all of that in the next phase. So, in today's podcast, we're going to just touch the surface of what retirement can look like and how to prepare or to pivot. We've got a resource that can take you deeper in helping you gain a perspective, to be encouraged, and even adjust your thinking. We offer our book, I Retire for Him, Unlock God's Purpose for Your Retirement. This book can be yours for just the cost of shipping just during the Christmas season. Email me, jim@iworkforhim.com, and request a copy, jim@iwork4him.com, for just the cost of shipping. All right, as you mentioned, Russell, both you and your bride have retired. You both did it within a short period of time. Before you guys retired, what kinds of things did you guys do for fun? Together.
Yeah, we are big golfers. Our vacations that we go on always have the golf clubs along with us, and we have a little bucket list that we do every year on how many golf courses we can check off during the course of a year. And this year it was over 60 different golf courses. Being up for the summertime, it was. Yeah, there's so many courses. Yeah, but golfing has brought us together, things that we can do together, be frustrated together on the golf course on occasion. But that has really kept us together. And we do love to travel, that's for sure.
Well, it was your favorite golf course this year in Minnesota?
Oh boy, there was one. Actually, I'm wearing the shirt right now. It's called the Ponds, Ponds, which is just north of Minneapolis. Very challenging golf course. Frustrating, but they're cheap up there. I mean, in comparing, because you have to think about that in your retirement years, that you can play a lot of golf in Minnesota for a relatively inexpensive price. But that was a really, really fun golf course just north of Minneapolis.
All right, so you golfed before, you're still get to golf now. What is it that Sandy, and I'm just going to ask you to talk for Sandy. I should have probably said, Sandy, why don't you join Russell today? I didn't. Next time. What is it that you think you see the new opportunities for fun for you to do? Do you guys, when you're up north, do you go fishing?
We do. Yeah. Spend a lot of time in the water fishing in that area.
Catching or fishing? Catching or fishing?
Fishing.
Most people listening don't know the difference. I've spent a lot of time in a boat in Minnesota fishing, not very much time catching.
Yes,
Fish up there
yes,
are much more wily than they are in other parts of the world.
no doubt about that.
So, I mean, as you guys prepared for you to retire, to sell the business, what did you guys dream about as you start talking about this retirement reality? What did you guys talk about? What were some of the things you had in your mind?
I wish I would had a really great story for you there, Jim. But one of the things, it felt like it snuck up on us, and I think if there are people listening to this, well, I'm guessing there are people listening to this
There's at least
conversation.
the two of us.
Yeah, yeah. That would be one of the things that I wish I probably would have thought of a little bit more. Maybe that's some advice or a challenge that I would give this group is have those conversations before. What does it look like? We're both healthy and we're so God has just given us such great health, and He's given us a couple of nickels in our pockets, so finances aren't a huge issue for us. But if I were to give advice to the other people listening to this show, would be have a plan in place, because I feel like we are in a season right now, and as you mentioned, Jim, which really it's just been so fresh, just a couple of months. And when I said we have an empty calendar, that can be a little dangerous. It's like, now what are we going to do? What happens next? Where do we go? What's the next thing? So it's kind of been spur of the moment things. So my encouragement to maybe others would be put a plan in place. And if they don't all fit into place, that's fine. I'm very fortunate to have a wife she just loves the Lord, just like I do. And we lean into God, we lean into His Word, and just what He has for us in the next season of our life. But I don't feel like we prepared as well as we probably could have.
Well, I mean, the preparation part, it's hard because where do you go? They don't talk about this at church. They don't really, I mean, the only thing they talk about in business is preparing for your finances for retirement. I mean, I can't tell you, well, I'm now in the business of talking about this, but until I started talking about this, Martha's dad was the only one I ever knew that lived out a retirement with purpose, because most people just they check out, they go on vacation. And there's nobody talking about, hey, in retirement, you're actually a fully funded missionary wherever you go. I mean, you're fully funded. You don't have to raise any money. You get to go. And in fact, you're welcome. Martha and I will help contribute to your retirement as we pay our Social Security in so you can suck it out. So that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. How are you going to find out what God has for you in these retirement years? How are you going to figure that out?
So I wrote this down too in preparation for this. And you're part of this journey with me, Jim, every Wednesday morning, and the friendship that we have together. I put down on my calendar. I am with a group of men on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and then I go to church on Sunday, wherever that is. We'll find a church someplace. And real quickly on Monday, I counsel 4 guys that are kind of on their path to becoming closer to God, which is great. It's just a quick Zoom call that we do for about a half hour on Monday. Tuesdays, lead a small group at 5:30 in the morning. We have 35 guys on that call, and we go through the book of. Right now, we're in the book of James, which is a great book if you haven't been in there. Wednesdays, I'm on a call with you from 7 to 8 in the morning with how many we have on there? 15 or 18 guys?
Somewhere between there, yep.
From all over. And then Thursday, I coach a young man over in Pakistan who is a new pastor. His name is Alili. And we plan for the Saturday service that either myself or Blake Maddox from 365 Christian Men, and we counsel and we coach him to put together a service for his people over in Pakistan. And he does all the translating. So those are my calendar items right now. And again, so God-driven for me. And I mentioned this before. You rewind the tape, 15, 16, 17 years, there's no way I'm filling up my morning calendar with God first things. And that's where I say I'm going to listen for direction, and we'll just kind of see where this takes us.
Is Sandy an early riser like you? Because that just sounds brutal, getting up that early in the morning every day.
No, she is not.
Okay.
She is not. So
that's why you're always in your basement in the morning when we're on our call. That's it. All right. So is there anything you wish you had done besides talking about retirement? Is there anything you wish you had done to prepare yourself better for the next? I mean, you've got you could have 30 or 40 years of your life ahead of you. You could be, I mean, how old was your dad when he died?
92.
92. All right. So you've got at least between now and then to look forward to potentially. What could you have done to be better prepared?
I don't really know. I thought about that question. I'm not really sure. I don't know that it's calendar items for me. I don't think it's bucket list items. Um, I just feel like maybe God has spoken to us, and I include my wife on this one, is let's just take this a day at a time and see where he leads us. I mean, people have big plans, and we're going to go here, we're going to do that, and we're going to buy this, or we're going to conserve here. All of those different things that people talk about in retirement. I think for the two of us, we have decided let's just let God lead us to wherever that might be. And again, let me to, 6 different days of the week, starting with Christian focused things. And I think that's a real start that God is going, you know what? Buckle your seatbelt because I've got great plans for you. So now it's a time to listen for direction for us.
You got kids and grandkids? Are they spread all across the country?
No grandkids.
No Tell your kids, but get going. You're retired.
We have one son, and he's 25, and I would say he's pretty distant away from having any grandkids right now. He's still trying to find his way. You know the routine.
Yeah, I know, but I'm on number 9 grandchild, so and I'm younger than you. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. We got to have a class here for these younger kids. Yeah, I know. Russell, as we close out the show today, as those who are listening are preparing for retirement, what kind of encouragement do you have for them?
Start with prayer. Just start with prayer. Jim mentioned earlier that, getting up early in the morning, probably not everybody's wheelhouse, but that would be one thing that I would do is just start the day and say, you know what, God, what do you have for me today? And careful what you ask for, because he will direct you in places that I never felt that I would go and my wife would go. And even though the calendar is blank at this point in time, which is a real blessing, God has big plans for every single one of us. And if we ask him for direction, we get into the word, get involved. If you're not in a small group at this point in time, try to get on one of those. If it's a Zoom or if it's an in-person at your church, or just, get together with some guys for coffee and just get connected with other men and other couples. And just, you'll find direction when people gather. And certainly putting God first. But I think if you put yourself in front of other people and let them know what you're doing, and people seem to be envious too of oh my gosh, you're retired. And we're so happy. I mean, we're just really happy, but none of this would have happened at all without the grace of God. There is no doubt about it.
Well, and it's likely that what you're going to find, it already seems like it's being put into action. All that leadership development that you did and all that teaching, the Dale Carnegie stuff, that God's probably got a plan for that for the next 30 years. I mean, as you retire, I mean, that stuff doesn't go to waste. He's just not going to pay you for it. Yeah. You don't need to make the money anymore.
He's already paid me.
That's right. That's just fantastic. Russell Jenson, thanks so much for being on I Retire for him today.
Thanks a lot, Jim. I appreciate you having me.
And as we close out today's show, if you're looking for an easy way to support I Retire for him in 2026, it's just Roundup. We have a program called through Project World Impact that allows all your purchases to just be rounded up to the next dollar on your credit card. And those pennies given to our ministry, I Work for Him. To learn more, go to iworkforhim.com/donate to get signed up today. You've been listening to I Retire for Him with your host, Jim Brangenberg. In this retirement phase of life, we all want our lives to be full of meaning and purpose so that we can say, I retire for Him.
Thanks for listening to I Retire for Him. With your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg. Most Christians tend to follow the world's pattern of rest and self-pampering during retirement. However, in your retirement, you can be focused on God's unique call to love, serve, and help others. This can be your best season of life if you take advantage of a life's worth of knowledge and experience and combine it with a greater freedom of time and money and invest it all in the generations both preceding and following you. I Retire for Him is encouraging Christians to find and follow God's call in all seasons and aspects of life, especially in retirement. Join this movement of God so you can say, I retire for Him.